Welcome to Level Up. I'm Sherelle.
And I'm Danny, and this is the podcast where we talk about health, fitness, and mindset. Today we're doing something a little bit different. Sherelle actually taught me what Reddit is, and then we went down some rabbit holes on the Reddit threads. People are funny on there.
Oh, never search your own name on Reddit. All right, like.
Is there threads about you?
Oh, there's threads about anyone. I reckon, honestly, Reddit is like, I don't know. I feel like you need like a warning before you go on to it. Like
Okay.
I'm over 18. No, Reddit is just like where people, it's like a Reddit forum is like where you go on, you ask a question and it's all those anonymous people, right? It's like everyone. No one really has like a profile on there and says who they are. So yeah, you just always get people, I don't know, comment things, share photos. It's just so funny. Every now and then I'll go onto Reddit and just have a read through and be like, what are people saying about me?
It's very interesting. I'm going to Google. I'm going to Reddit you.
Reddit you.
Oh,
Remember
I
back
hope
in the day?
something that I'm relevant.
Note to self: Google search, Reddit search, Danny.
Reddit.
But yes.
My Google's innocent. Don't know about my Reddit.
No.
But we went on Reddit because Sherelle taught me what it was, and it's a very interesting thread of people's stories and opinions. And we picked out some of the worst and most inaccurate health and fitness advice that people have received. So we're going to go through some of them and then give our opinion on whether we actually think it's bad or it might actually be good.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, Reddit is where a lot of people go for advice, but to be honest, you guys are in the right place.
Come to us.
Right now, come to us. Because yeah, not a lot of people give out the right advice as we know online, but in particular Reddit, different type of social media, but very, very popular. And I'm sure a lot of people listening to this will be well and truly aware of what Reddit is. But basically, Danny and I are going to go through the thread and discuss one of the questions that was asked, which is, what's the most common inaccurate health or fitness view most people hold? So that is like the theme, I guess, of the Reddit thread. And then everyone was popping in their answers of like what their belief was around the most inaccurate health and fitness views that most people hold. And some of them were really interesting.
Yes. And the first one is quite controversial in a way. Dieting being confused with simply living a healthy lifestyle. Now, when I was dieting the most, I was the most unhealthy, which goes against the whole stereotype that I'm on a diet, I'm being healthy, and people get rewarded for announcing that they're on a diet, or they go into the workplace like, no, I can't eat that, I'm on a diet, and everyone's like, wow, well done.
What does that even mean when you think about it?
Like it means I'm looking after myself now. I'm going to make a change for the positive. But we were dieting for the stage, and that's actually unhealthy. So I definitely think a dieting isn't healthy in isolation, but it's to the extent of dieting. Are you just watching what you're eating, making a few more healthy food choices, or are you actually just stripping down to get lean for a bodybuilding show, that kind of dieting? Yeah. I wouldn't think that's healthy.
Yeah, totally. It's, I guess, even like if you change the word dieting, being confused with simply living a healthy lifestyle, what about like weight loss? Simply confused with being healthy, because I feel like it's the same thing. It's like, why do you diet, right? Usually for a lot of people to lose body fat, lose weight, I would say most of society would say, they wouldn't say body fat, they'd say to lose weight, right? It's the same argument. I don't know if you saw, but I posted one of our snippets the other day about complimenting people on weight loss. There was a lot of people that did not like that.
They didn't.
Yeah.
I gotta read the comments.
Do you know what
on
I
your
love?
post.
Is like whenever you share an opinion, like what we're talking about today, whenever you share opinions, 50-50. There's always going to be like 50% of people that agree with your opinion and 50% that don't, because it's an opinion, right? And not every opinion is for every person. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an opinion, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be an opinion, it would be a fact. But when you share facts and knowledge, when we say, no, a hinge pattern looks like this, or a carb has this many calories, like when you share a fact, it's like, fight me. Like you can't argue with this, it's science. But when you share an opinion, people have an opinion on your opinion. I love it. I'm like, because I don't share opinions that I'm not passionate about.
Yeah.
Like if I believe in an opinion because I've had a body of evidence or like perspective or just life experience that's led to that opinion, like then I'm entitled to it.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell me what I can and can't think. But this is definitely one of them, right? Whether it's like weight loss, fat loss, dieting, by society's standards means that you're looking after yourself, you're healthy, you really are prioritizing your fitness, you're probably going to the gym, like you're doing all these other things, and people make assumptions about the lifestyle you must be living because you're trying to lose weight, which, yeah, this person's 100% right. Like it's it's not like necessarily living a healthy lifestyle. It can be for some people, but context is important.
Yeah, and it depends if you think the word dieting means being in a calorie deficit. Because I had this conversation with Paul, because I always just assume the word dieting with being in a calorie deficit, because he would say, I'm dieting. And then I'd be like, oh, you're trying to, cut down again, whatever. He goes, no, I'm actually in a surplus, but I'm dieting. Like his word for dieting is just tracking macros, being more disciplined and all of that, which threw me a little bit, which I don't know, I kind of don't agree.
Yeah.
But
the word diet, he's right. Diet is your way of eating. So I remember in a hospital, it's like FODMAP diet, low fat diet. Like a diet is what people like, a smooth puree diet. Like a diet is the way of eating. Dieting technically does mean eating, but again, we make associations through our own experiences and what social norm. So whenever someone says dieting, like it's the same as us saying macros and just assuming people know what that is. Like it could means nothing to someone, like everything always has a different language, which is so important, because when you're talking about anything, like people will interpret it through their way of interpretation and what things actually mean to them.
That's true. Yeah. So just because you are conscious of a diet doesn't mean you're living a healthy lifestyle.
No, sometimes it's the opposite as well.
Exactly.
Like, as you said, like sometimes with bodybuilding, you sort of have to become quite obsessive over fat loss, like obsessive over getting lean. That's what it is. It's like get as lean as possible. That is not a healthy lifestyle.
No.
Right? I think that's probably quite the opposite.
I think I'm healthier now with not tracking. Like living a healthy lifestyle, traveling, variety in foods, having fun, eating a little bit of this, eating a bit of that. Like that's my lens on it. But yeah, I definitely feel like I'm living a healthier lifestyle now with less focus on what I'm eating. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think healthy is so subjective too. Like healthy to one person is so different to another. I'm sure there's 100% like a definition, but like I feel like what's healthy for one person is them being able to live their life and not feel like restricted or restrained physically or mentally. Whereas for some people, like tracking and really controlling that's how they actually stay healthy, maybe mentally, right? Rather than just physically. But like healthy is going to be so different for other people as well. And it shifts and changes. And I think it's important to have like your own definition of healthy, because it's probably going to evolve over different stages too.
Exactly. All right, let's move on, because we promised this wouldn't be a 2-hour podcast, but it's going to be.
So the second one is rest days are setbacks. And I think if you're listening to this, you probably know our opinion already on whether rest days are setbacks, but it definitely still is very, very common. And I never want us, Danny, to get stuck in our own bubble of what we think is like normal or like known or like common knowledge, because it's not. And a lot of people out there still think that rest days are like lazy or like unproductive, but they're not, right? It's quite the opposite. Like we don't grow in the gym or we don't recover in the gym, and it's not about how much you can do, it's about how much you can actually recover from, which is why you actually need, like I think a minimum of 2 rest days a week for most people, but I know there's a lot of people that try and do something every day.
Yeah, I want to group the discussion on rest days and deloads, if that's okay, because kind of similar.
Group them.
Can we? Yeah. A lot of people, I'll just answer my question. A lot of people think that rest days and deloads are setbacks, and of course it's context dependent. I think you need to earn the right for proper rest days and deloads, because if you're trading 4 days a week and there's no intensity and you're actually not doing much, you just rock it up to the gym, saying hi to your friend for 20 minutes, bit of light movement, going home, I don't think you even would really need a rest day or deload. But if you're following a structured program, giving full intensity, really trying your hardest, then you definitely need rest and recovery and a deload when it comes to that time. But I think a lot of people are just having deloads because in the calendar month, it falls on that 4th or 5th week. They go, oh, I need a deload now, without actually listening to their body. So I think it can be a setback if you're just having a period away from physical activity when you haven't actually earned that. Because why would you just stop the awesome momentum? So it really depends on whether your intensity is or is not there. If your intensity is there, you will need to rest, because your body will hurt and break down. But if the intensity is not there, you can just keep going at that mediocre intensity and not have to pause.
Yeah, totally true. And I know deloads have copped a lot of slack probably over the last couple of months, since there was like some research or some like literature that came out that sort of disproved that they were helpful physically for people. But like context is always so important, and we always have to take research with a grain of salt. And I've had so much success with using deloads personally myself, and also with clients, not just physically. And I think the physical argument's important because, one, I want to teach my clients how to push and pull. Right? That's a learnt skill. Most people think, oh, they just pull back when you feel like it. It's like, how do you know to do that? Like, you get an ambitious woman in the gym that loves training and tell her just
They'll
to pull
back when their leg's broken. Not even. They'll still train up the body.
Almost everything is a niche problem too, right? Like deloads for the wrong person, sure, right? Like deloads for, I don't want to say a name, Karen, Susie, Betty.
Don't say, oh, you've just slammed 3 people now in our reviews. They're going to come at us.
I'm sorry. But deloads are one of those things that, like, yes, you shouldn't take it if you're not training properly. You're probably taking them anyways. You know what I mean? But like, if you're someone that's training properly, training hard, training regularly, like deloads aren't just physical pulling back, it's also mental. Right, and it's a little bit of like respite. I also think the same argument goes for like refeeds and diet breaks. Like I know a lot of people say that they're not necessary. It's like tell anyone to diet on really low calories for a long period of time. Like everything has a place when you know how to use it properly.
Yeah, I think deloads are really important mentally, or if you're away on a holiday. Like I don't expect my clients to hit all of their training days when they're away exploring Europe. Like you need a break then, or if you're sick, or if a child or family member's unwell, you need to care for them. Like if you have really high pressure work and it it takes you away from the gym for a week, like that's so fine. They're your incidental deloads. Yeah. They will happen, and just embrace it and then get on with it when you get back into routine.
Yep, totally. Great. What's the next one? Oh,
Eating fats are bad for you.
Yeah, we've had that one. God, yeah. Again, I don't want to assume anything, but like there is a lot of people that still, even marketing, right? All the low fat stuff still, what's that even mean? Like low fat, high sugar. That's what it means, right? High sugar.
Or preservatives and sweeteners.
Yeah. And I just think, you know what? I've actually started to include more whole fat dairy. It's something I took out for a while. And I remember we spoke about this on a previous podcast, but I took out dairy for a while for skin related things. Yeah. And then I reintroduced it, I don't know, maybe like 1 or 2 years ago, slowly. Just started with like Greek yogurts and things like that. And now I've started to put like more like milk back in, and like whole full fat milk.
So not skim milk anymore?
Not skim milk. I can't do it.
You went from 0 to literally full fat milk?
Full fat. Wow. Have yolk. Nah.
And your skin's flawless. Why is my skin sucking? I've cut out all this shit.
Well, I think, honestly, like I did not just go from 0 to 100. It's a very slow, gradual process. Like maybe, like I said, over 12 to 24 months. I just got sick of not being able to like eat cheese and like good stuff. Like I like dairy. And I also know that dairy is one of those food groups that most people struggle to hit their calcium intake, and I 100% would have been. Like if I was looking up all the, I'm not eating tuna every day and things like that, or sardines, I'd try and like compensate because I'm not getting calcium in. And as a female, it's really important that you eat enough calcium. And if you're not eating dairy, the chances of you getting enough calcium in, pretty low.
What about supplementation though?
Yeah, you can supplement with it, but I don't know. I just prefer to like, if I can eat it, I want to.
Yeah.
So I started to like reintroduce dairy and more full fat milks and full fat cheeses and things like that. And I've actually noticed like quite a difference in like appetite. Like I just feel like low fat stuff, it does not keep you satiated. Yeah. Right. And like, God, skim milk makes me cringe a bit, to be honest. Like, yeah, there's just nothing like a dollop of full cream milk.
Yeah, if your guts can handle it.
If you can have it. And I've had to like build it back up. Don't get me wrong. Like at the start, it was not, like I'd get a little bit of like digestive like cramps and things like that because your body has to relearn how to break it down. But yeah, like as I said, I was like, I just don't want any limitations with what I'm eating. Like I want to be able to eat everything in doses, in the right quantities, and not have to worry about my skin breaking out or gut issues or whatever. And I know not everyone has that luxury, but that was something that I really wanted to like taper back into. So yes, it's
good
false,
on you.
And if you can include all food groups, you should.
Yeah. Whereas I'm not as blessed as you in a sense, like I eat a little bit of, your whey protein and a little bit of gluten and dairy. I'm talking like little bits, but I do notice now that I'm off contraception, if I eat gluten and dairy and a lot of like whey protein, I break out hard. Yeah. And it's so annoying. And I see a naturopath for my skin, and it it's all cycle related as well. But when I was on contraception and my hormones were flatlining, I could eat anything. Milkshakes with ice cream and no problem. Like, not one breakout would occur. But now that I have a regular cycle, my hormones are doing their thing. I'm so much more sensitive. So I've just opted out. Like, I have a majority gluten-free and dairy-free diet just because I've even like tested myself, taken a photo of my face, eaten a little bit of dairy or whatever, the next day, breakouts.
Really?
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I went through a phase like that too. I went through a phase and I feel like...
Mine's a 32-year phase.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, hopefully. Maybe
Each to their own, but if you can slowly introduce it, that's great. But then if you have breakouts and you don't know why, I would really look at the amount of gluten and dairy because it's so inflammatory and it can create breakouts for people like me. Not sure.
Yeah. Each to their
Yin
own.
and yang.
Yep. The next one that we had was that you need to flush your system with all kinds of BS cleansers to detox your body.
Yuck.
Now, this comes down to, like, I guess, all the detox teas and all the drinks and all the lemon waters and teas and all that sort of stuff, which is still very, very common. But, like, time and time again, they've shown that we don't need a detox. Like, it's literally what our liver's for. Like, our liver
We've got a whole
detoxifies.
massive organ.
We've got a big organ
It's
down
huge.
there. You know, we can also live with like half. Oh, can we?
It grows back, doesn't it?
Yeah, I actually can't remember liver. Yeah, no, liver. You can live with
It
half a
does.
liver.
Yep,
Kidneys are the
Aiden's
ones
nodding,
Yep,
Cameron
there we go.
dude.
I was like,
Yeah.
which one is the one that pancreas? We need all that thing. That's the.
Oh, no, yeah, we need that.
Yeah, we need that. Liver. Right. So liver detoxifies everything. And look, I don't mind, right? I don't mind some of these things and the habitual, I guess, impact it can have on people. Like, I remember posting about this a while ago, but a cup of lemon water in the morning can really set people up. You know, like doing something healthy first thing in the morning can have a bit of a domino effect. It's like, well, I'm not going to have a cup of lemon water and go for a walk and not come back and have a nutritious breakfast and then maybe go to the gym after work and put off my afternoon slump chocolate. You know, like, it can have this nice domino effect. So I think has a positive benefit from that perspective. But when it comes to like spending $60 on some detox powder, like, I can't believe how expensive some of those things are. And you look at the ingredients and you're like, oh, I might as well just have like some Metamucil. You know, it's a fiber and a bit of green tea leaves. Like, it's honestly just all marketing. And I'm really surprised that a lot of these supplements are even allowed to be on our store shelf, to be honest.
You're allowed to say those words, you know, cigarettes are legal. Like, alcohol's legal, you know, so these detox teas are deemed to be healthy in our world. But I think you're right in saying that it can set you up for habits.
Yeah.
You go, okay, that's it. I'm having a whole detox. And then it just leads to better food choices. But I don't recommend it. I do love like a warm bone broth in the morning just because it feels better on my gut. I had to cut it.
Great.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's my, not a detox, but it's something that's not coffee straight away. I had to stop having black coffee. I used to always have long blacks, but then I feel like it just makes my guts, it feels so sensitive, which obviously I've just lost that tolerance. So I like starting the day with something warm that's not coffee in my stomach.
No, you're good.
Then I go straight for a walk to get coffee.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm straight to the coffee machine, guys.
But Paul's asleep anyway, and I can't make loud coffee with the machine. Like, no, I want him to have his little sleep in.
Oh, you're nice.
So I use my water heater. It was meant to be a milk frother, but I figured out I don't have to turn the kettle on for hot water. I just put the water in the milk frother and it's more quiet.
And you do all this so Paul can get his beauty sleep.
Yeah, but he lets me get mine because I go to bed so early. Then he's up like 3 hours after me tiptoeing around.
Aww.
So we give each other that.
That's nice. Yeah, I don't do that.
Well, we want to sort of be able to live together forever. So that's one of the many compromises that we'll make for each other. Yeah.
That's fair. Look, I'm so precious about my sleep, and I'm sure Paul is, and Luke's like, not really. He's like,
I'm precious, so then I think that he would be when he's probably not as much. I'm so precious.
Yep.
Earplugs, eye mask, temperature, hot shower before bed. Anyway, it's not a sleep podcast. But you don't need it to completely flush your system with all this crap. Like,
have a cup of water.
Just have something that will set a nice intention for the day.
Yeah.
Water's a bit boring. Zhuzh it up a bit.
Just your cup of black coffee if you're anything like me. That's
Strip your
That's
guts.
also okay. But do you know what? Like, I know coffee gets a lot of hate. They actually have shown that there's a lot of antioxidants in coffee bean. right? Like coffee is actually like healthy. You know, like it's been drank for centuries, right?
Yes.
Like very long. There's nothing wrong with coffee. If you put 6 tablespoons of sugar in it, then there's probably a problem. And if you have like 15 cups of coffee a day, but I honestly think that coffee is like one of the best. Like, what is it? It's a drug, technically.
Yeah,
like,
it's definitely
caffeine. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with starting your morning with coffee.
No
Like,
way.
Nothing. I know a lot of people are like, give yourself 90 minutes and get some sunlight first.
You're
and it's
mocking
like,
Huberman now.
yeah, he got smashed for that. I don't think that was right. I remember someone posting about
I do like the sunlight in the eyes
yeah,
because
well,
I
that's
used
fine,
to
but what
wake
about
up
with your cup of coffee.
Yeah, sunlight in the eyes while sipping the coffee.
Caffeine,
I stopped
yeah.
wearing sunglasses first thing in the morning thinking I was cool in my sunnies. Like, no need, just take them off. Show everyone your morning face in all its glory and just get the sunlight in. But I'm not going to wait 90 minutes for my coffee.
Absolutely not.
No.
Nah. And I also think there's a lot of bad things you can do in the world. There's a lot of drugs in the world. If caffeine's my drug of choice, I think I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, exactly right.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the episode. If you are, make sure that you take a screenshot, upload it to your socials, and don't forget to tag us.
Anything that the Europeans are doing, or off that Netflix series where they all live to like 100 years old, they're drinking coffee
They don't get
all hours of the day.
cancers.
You know? Yeah, they're eating oils, full fat things, lots of nuts, all these beautiful fats. Like, I think we're getting a little bit too pedantic because there's no point getting sunlight in your eyes, waiting 90 minutes for your coffee, and then going and being super stressed at work, having a shitty relationship, like fixating on all these other things that are causing ill health. But no, I've got sunlight and 90 minutes in before my coffee. That's going to fix everything. No, fix the actual problems first.
Yeah.
Don't be pedantic.
Totally. And again, even with like, you know, fitness advice that goes around, people do focus on the wrong stuff. Like, I completely agree. One of the most underrated things for your fitness is your relationships. Like,
Tell me about
I
it.
honestly think like having a strong network and community and relationships, like real ones, not just ones on social media where people comment on your post because they want you to comment back. Cute, hot, illy. Like, no, like having genuine, like relationships and connections is like a biological need in our body, right? Like, we actually need that. There's just like so many people give out shitty advice about detox. It's like, how about just like make some friends? You know, and have some connections in the nicest way, but like prioritize your friends.
You're right.
You know, don't become too like biohacking and everything and like not go out, not have dinners with friends because you're worried about the oil in the food and all these things. It's like, you know what? Sometimes the best thing for someone is like, you know what? Just like give it a rest and enjoy your life a little bit.
Yeah, positive relationships just cure everything, honestly. Yeah, good call there. What's this one? The general public who don't know shit about nutrition thinks that healthy eating is solely living off salad and vegetables.
Yeah. The whole salad and vegetable thing, right? Like a lot of people
Surely
think
that's not
health.
still a thing. Yeah, okay. Is there protein in the salad? Is it a tuna or chicken salad?
Maybe
Probably
I
not.
won't go down there. But yeah, I think with salads, like I think if you look at any like healthy recipe book or something, it's like full of salads. And I get it because most people need to eat vegetables and things like that.
Yes.
But you know, like there's also like a lot of salads are just like covered in oils and dressings and things like that too. And it's like, you know, maybe just like a bit of steak and some potatoes and chips and stuff would be better. Like this isn't a calorie argument, you know, and I think that's what people get trapped in. It's like, oh, low calorie celery. Like, it's like, just have a piece of meat, have some steak, have some chips. In the nicest way, obviously, if meat's not on the menu, that's for someone else.
Sorry, vegans.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. Have like a big source of protein.
Yeah.
Whether it's from animal or not, like salads for the side. If I went to my grandma's house and just had a salad, she'd be like, oh, you're not eating.
Yeah, I'm insulted.
Exactly. Salad goes on the side,
warm-up.
I reckon. That's, the warm-up. You dip your bread in the salad dressing, you know, you have it with your meat or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I tried. I remember when I was younger working in the industry, like I would have tuna salads for dinner, but then it's just not enough. I don't know. I mean, I just thought that's what you had to do. It was always when I was trying to lose weight. Yeah. And I feel like I did lose weight, obviously, because I was in a calorie deficit. But, like, I wasn't strong. I didn't have muscle. This is before, you know, all the, like, bodybuilding stuff. I was still just tennis player Danny, quite lean, not that strong, lots of cardio, lots of salads. But, like, it wasn't sustainable. It was boring as well. So, yeah, not a fan of that. I mean... If you don't eat your veggies, make one of the meals salad with protein in it. but it shouldn't be all your meals.
Nah. I mean, my salads are like in tubs. Like my
massive.
salad is like massive.
Yeah.
Like has probably like a whole half an avocado and like everything. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I think like salads, like little petite salads and things like that, you know, maybe like 20 years ago, they used to think that was the definition of health.
Like on Mean Girls, perhaps a salad.
Yeah.
Perhaps not. Just
Totally.
orders the menu.
I also like, I grew up eating a lot of salads and vegetables, like as well. Like we used to grow it all our own and all that sort of stuff. But Luke actually doesn't like salad. He eats vegetables, but he doesn't like salad and leaves and things like that.
How come?
I don't know. Honestly, I asked myself the same question. I was mortified when we first started dating. I was like, what do you mean you don't like salad? I don't know if this can work.
Literally, so he's like, oh, no, I don't like.
No,
Like you were out to dinner one time or something. Like how did that happen?
I can't even remember how it came
Wow.
about. He doesn't like the texture and he just doesn't like the taste. And I probably understand. It's like, fair enough.
He feels like he's a rabbit or something.
Yeah, he's like, I just don't want to eat leaves. And I'm like, fair enough. So you eat vegetables.
Yeah.
But like I've had to like not change the way that I eat, but I definitely don't eat because we cook together. So
Yeah.
we make a lot more vegetables and meals and things like that. So I've definitely had to evolve my way of eating.
Yeah, and you have to wash salads pretty thoroughly. There's a lot of like bugs in
Yeah.
leaf. Like I can get
Mum
why
told
you
me there's
wouldn't
always
have
extra protein though. It's good for you. I'm
Oh,
like, Mum, there's a bug in this one.
Colleen and the farm life. I envy it. I envy the carefree
This is my
life.
guts of steel.
You've had 10 bugs already for breakfast. God. Yeah, so moving on, I reckon.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Salads,
worst segue.
vegetables and fruits, like of course they're healthy, but they're not the epitome of health. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's like you can still eat a salad and be incredibly unhealthy. It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
make you healthy.
Yeah, I agree with that. Running is bad for your joints.
Yeah. Obviously, and even I'm doing some running and been getting back into that for quite some time now, but running is very much back in vogue. I don't know whether it's like maybe I'm consuming more running content and noticing
Well, you
it.
just release a running
Yeah,
program,
I know.
so
but
you'd
like,
hope
is that
so.
something that you see too, or is it more just like sometimes I think that things are mainstream, but they're not. It's just what I'm in. You know,
I'm definitely noticing running girl era.
like the Pilates
Run
girl
club,
era last year.
particularly around Bondi and all the beaches.
of
You know,
course.
everyone's in their running era. I'm here for it, but my books are filling up because of it. There's a lot of injured people coming in from their running girl era. Or guy era. It just had more of a clicky. You have to use the star emojis as well when you say era.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
So I think
With the
running,
capitals.
running is bad for your joints if you don't work up to it, if you don't warm up properly. You know, if you go from not running in your whole life to I'm going to run a marathon today, of course your structures will not be able to handle it. You will get shin splints. You can fracture your bones, stress fractures in the feet, your legs, your pelvis. Like I see it a lot and it is because people just get excited, and I've been in this phase too where you think, nah, that's it, I'm going to go for a
hard,
run,
yep.
and there's just zero preparation. So I think it definitely can be bad for your joints if you don't prepare properly.
Totally. One of my good friends is a exercise psychologist at one of the hospitals here, and he works a lot with like rehab. And I was asking, because you know when like people in that sort of career, they're so out of the fitness space, and like sometimes you'll say things they're
Which
not.
blows my mind. Rehab in a hospital is out of the fitness
No,
space.
like he's in fitness, obviously training like rehab, but not in our fitness of probably like.
I still find that
fitness
mind-blowing.
industry.
I know what you
like
mean.
he's like he's not on social media. Do you know what I mean? He's like
Yeah.
very much a professional just in that field and does his own stuff, and that's
Which
fine.
I think they should be linked.
Totally,
But that's another topic.
but they're not. Anyways, and I was saying to him, I was like, what do you, like, I was just asking about his work and sort of what he does and have a normal general chit chat, because I just went to uni with him. And I was like, what do you think about like different types of warm-ups for this? And I was asking about his injury concept, because he does more, I guess, trauma rehab, like people that come into hospital when they've had trauma, car accidents, things like that.
Different.
Yeah,
field.
very different. And I was talking to him about exercise and training, and like we're just having general conversation. And as I mentioned, some of the things I was talking about, like different world, such a different world. And I was talking to him about like this exact thing with like running and injuries and things like that. And he's like, everything is just a preparation problem. He's
Well,
like,
yeah.
everything is just lack of preparation. There's no such thing as a bad movement or a bad exercise. And even I know the thing around technique, but he's like, there's certain techniques that you just need preparation for before you put your body in those positions, and everything needs a progression. It's the exact same thing when it comes to running or anything else. It's not that it's bad or it's wrong or that you shouldn't do it. It's just that you need to prep for everything, right? And a 5K run is a lot on your body. Like a lot of people think, oh, it's just a run. It's just a run, just a treadmill, you know, and it's the most easily accessible piece of equipment in a gym is a treadmill. So I understand, of course, we want to always encourage people to move their body, but like with running, like you have to increase like 10% a week in terms of your running volume, like really slow, because every time you hit the ground, it's like more stress through your joints and everything, which is not wrong. Do you know what I mean? But the same way that you wouldn't go in and just load up 100 kilos on a back squat, you wouldn't just go out and run 5Ks because it's literally the equivalent. You're literally stressing your joints for probably 35 minutes for most people to do, or longer, to be honest, probably like 40 minutes, which is a hell of a lot. And I just think that people don't give running and cardio the same attention that they do weights because there's no load. So they think, oh, it's low risk. But it's like, not really.
I think it can actually be more detrimental. It's a paradox in a sense, like people who want to lose weight go for runs.
Yeah,
but
which
I feel
hurts
like,
me. It's like,
it is what it is. I mean, but I think the people carrying too much excess weight should not be running because of that extra impact. But you know, I love prescribing the elliptical trainer, even just, you know, get their actual training program right with a good amount of intensity. Of course, we talk about dieting, but running, it's the same as having the goal of powerlifting. Not everyone needs to be a runner. Not everyone needs to be a bodybuilder or go to the gym. Not everyone needs to play basketball. So if you want to go down that path, then do it properly. Get guidance, you know, don't go from 0 to 100, progressively overload the runs, have your rest days.
Follow a program.
Have all the same principles. Yes, it's a way to be social, but at what cost? Again, like I understand if all your friends were going to the gym, you'd want to probably go to connect with them, but then it's never worth putting your body at risk. So running is good for some, running is bad for some.
And it all comes down to your level of preparation as well. It's
exactly.
Like anyone can do anything if you prepare your body for it. Like I genuinely, like of course there's going to be
I'm never going to run a marathon.
But you could if you trained for it.
I mean, not necessarily, again, like people who are, and I'm being very black and white, people who are carrying extra 50 kilos body weight.
No, of course.
You know what I mean?
But anyone can, if they lost the weight and they did the training program and they did the thing, they could. Like, of course they could. Our body would adapt and adjust.
I know what you mean, but I don't want to put that statement on every person on the planet. There's always going to be someone who will not fit the criteria. Like, I'm never going to deadlift 200 kilos. It's just physically impossible, even with the right program. You know what I mean?
Ooh, I might disagree.
I'm never going to deadlift 200 kilos. I'm never going to have squat 200 kilos.
No, like with some...
You have genetic advantage.
There might be, you're always going to have a genetic advantage for certain things. But like there's some people that are built for endurance and there's some people that are built for strength and there's some people that are built for those things. But I also think that for most people, you can train to a certain level to do
most,
things.
but not all.
Yeah,
That's
not
what I'm
for
trying to get
100%.
at, because I don't want everyone now to start trying activities that they just shouldn't be doing. It's like when we like saying not everyone should get on stage. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Not just because you can doesn't mean you should. Doesn't mean you can't, but it doesn't mean you should. Like physically, whether you can is a different scenario to whether like you're going to get injured in the process. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people running marathons, like there's a lot of people that don't prep for them and they just like go out and do it. That is not right. Like you're going to get injured doing that. And a lot of people just want to tick things off. Which is fine. Do you know what I mean? But like it's all about, do you want to do the thing well or do you want to do the thing? You know, the same with competing. Anyone can get on stage. Should they? No.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that, but we're not saying that it's bad. And I'm going to respect that you did just release a running program. So I'm not going to deter people from that. But there is still going to be a small minority of people that don't have to run.
No, of course. Not absolutely not. I think everyone should prioritize like their cardiovascular health in whatever they want to do. Whether it's like going for a run, going for a walk, going for a bike ride, swimming, playing sport. For most people is like good entry level. But like it's just all about everyone's unique, everyone's individual. It's not, nothing is inherently bad for your joints. It's just about like the preparation that you do to get there.
Okay, we'll move on. The osteo in me is like, no, that's all right. So the next one being functional training isn't just a fad. The word functional training can get totally butchered.
Well, functional...
What would they mean here?
Well, I feel like functional training got butchered from F45. and boot camps and things like that. They did, because it was sort of like so, I don't know, like so extreme for a lot of people. And you know, I think I even remember, like, there's some movements that just like didn't make much sense, and they would label it as functional.
Burpees.
Well, not even that, but it's like a burpee on a Bosu ball with a crunch at the end. You know, like just these like clustered together movements that you'd sort of, then they'd label it as functional, and it makes it more like, I guess, trendy. But functional training to me is just like normal training. Like a squat's functional, a deadlift's functional, like running's functional. Like, I don't know what functional really means. I just think it's the rise of things like, because F45, it's functional, right? 45, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is functional.
Well, that's what the F is, isn't it?
Hope so.
Maybe.
I don't know. But I feel like functional training gets associated with things like that, or like BFT and other things like that, which I don't think that, like, I actually don't mind the concept of BFT. Like, there's definitely a lot of great things that have come from all of those group fitness styled classes. But functional training for me just is training. I just think it's been mislabeled like a lot of things in the fitness industry, and that's why it gets a bad rep. You know, it's like, are burpees that bad? Do you know what I mean? It's probably because they were overused in the commando days from like boot camp, that like you just saw all these people getting like killed with burpees.
Yeah.
So I just think it's like the label that gets associated to it.
It's still a thing, because I've got a client working in the Navy and she actually hurt herself doing burpees. And I'm like, they need to change this protocol. Like, it's not
I know, like a lot of the military and the fitness and the police force stuff, they still have pretty old school training.
A lot of my clients come from police academy, firefighters. I have a lot of the service providers, because just the training is still very old school. And what I said to her was like, you can break down the burpee in a way that is not just all of the movements paired together. Jumping, coming down, coming back up, like just break it down. But I don't think the movements that are known to be functional, such as balancing on one leg while juggling something with a band around the other leg, that's not functional, because how often do you do those movements in your life?
Yeah.
Functional movements are one that you use in a day-to-day, and they are not fancy and they're not sexy, but they're just your basic movement patterns. I would call that true functional training.
Yeah. Well, that's my thought too. And I think that, like, I also think though that in our day and age, we're actually not forced to do a lot of movement patterns anymore. Like, really, like, how often do we have to do a push-up? You know, push our body up.
Oh, you mean in real life?
Yeah, in real life scenarios. And that's why like training is actually really important, because like we actually get to make sure that we can express our strength and move our body in fast, explosive ways or different ways, or like, you know, cardio. You know what I mean? Like, how often does our heart rate really have to get up in real life anymore? Like, unless we're anxious, not really physically.
Mine's always up.
Yeah, exactly. But I actually think that like functional training is also about like making sure that you can stay fit, healthy, and like preserve your strength in all other areas. Because when do you get injured? It's like when your body's not prepared, or you're doing something that you know, taking your body outside of a range of motion that you don't normally like stretch in, or whatever it might be. So like when you're training, it's also like your opportunity to do things that you're not doing in your normal life.
Yeah. And then there's also an element of like prevention, so you can get yourself out of danger, such as like falls prevention, or if someone does fall on the ground as an elderly person, they need to still train push-ups to be able to get off the ground, lunges, things like that. So there's also that element of training to prepare yourself for a moment where you might need to get yourself out of danger,
which
as
we
well.
all need.
Really
we all need
important
from time to time.
So I don't think it is a fad, to answer that.
No, I don't think it's a fad
very
either.
important.
Nah, yeah, I think a lot of the group fitness stuff's fads, in terms of like everything will come in waves with what's trending.
Well, they're shutting down.
I know. RIP. But another one will come in, right? It'll swoop in, and it'll be a rise of that one. So, yeah.
Lucky last.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep. That you can't do cardio and weights together. Yes. So this is one that we spoke about previously. And I guess that when it comes to cardio and weights, and even if you look at like functional group fitness styled stuff, it combines the two together. But there is like a bit of a misconception that you can't put them together, and they should be like quite separate. And again, I think it comes down to like for who and what for. Like when it comes to cardio and weights, like I would say for Gen Pop and for a lot of people, like, of course you can put them together. Like if you're an athlete and you're training for something, like you should prioritize your sport specific training, of course. But that could also be a sport that requires you to express strength and fitness at the same time, and therefore you should put them together. So I know a lot of people, even if you look at bodybuilding, it's like you do your cardio in the morning and your weights at night. Like, it's all very intentional to split things up. But I definitely think that cardio and weights can go together quite well.
Yeah, and it also depends what cardio is. You wouldn't run a marathon and then train legs in the gym for a squat goal. Like, they're extremes, but very low level. If you go for a walk in the morning or do a run at your level, you know, you can go and train after if you're used to that amount. So it's just about, again, not pushing it too far and just trying to exhaust yourself in one and then exhaust yourself in the other. If I were to recommend to do hard cardio to most Gen Pop, I wouldn't say to train weights directly after, particularly if it's legs, but I'm a big fan of, if you want to do your elliptical trainer or get on the bike and then train upper body, no problem at all. But if someone came to me with a goal to deadlift heavier, I wouldn't say, sure, just go on this 20-minute run first.
No, of course
if they're
not.
untrained. But if you're about to do a CrossFit competition, different story. So it's all context dependent.
Yeah, totally. I actually like starting, like, I usually start all my weight sessions, which is like a little bit of cardio, 5 minutes of cardio, whatever it might be.
5 minutes. Then.
Yeah, like, you're not going to exert yourself either way. But like in terms of like putting them together, I think it's a nice stack for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, Reddit delivered. I'm going to dive deeper into Reddit because they were pretty low key. So they were good. Good discussion points though.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, if you ever want to flick over and find something fun to read, Reddit is the place. Full of a lot of interesting characters. But yeah, we'll definitely bring back the Reddit threads and the stories very soon.
Cool. And send us any if you find any ones that you want us to like talk about.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. If you're enjoying the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and hit follow so you can stay up to date with our podcast every week.